Morning, guys. Thanks for being here. Let's check out the old chart situation, see what's going on over here. Must be pretty good. I was happy to see that my tasty trade was still up. Model portfolio, I thought it might be down with some of the big companies missing earnings that are in the some of my high yield stocks. But anyway, all right. So, boy, that's a grind fest. Look at this ES right here, ES futures, just building out this zone right here. It did look like a bearish gap, but it's been run through so many times, doesn't look like that anymore to me. It looks like they're trying to build out a new point of control. So right here around 63.35. Let's look at SPY. It's a little bit easier sometimes to see what's going on without the 24-hour action. Yeah, SPY looks a heck of a lot different, doesn't it? With that 8:30 to 9 o'clock bar, well, now there's the 8:30 to 9 o'clock bar. Well, let's look at the Qs. Qs look more bullish than the SPY. They're also building out just like S&P futures are, they're building out a new point of control right here at 561. Same thing kind of with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been working on this POC for a while at the 114 area. Bulls definitely want to take back this higher area up here at 118. We'll see. 10 years up. It doesn't look like it's up too much. Let's look over here at VIX. VIX down 3.7 and VIX down 1.4. Good job. Tesla's actually up this morning. Great job, Tesla. Great job, Tesla. Let's look at NVIDIA. It's up every morning. It's up. It seems like even Misty's up this morning. Take a look at that. Mister's up. Misty's up. Google down a little bit. No big deal, but I guess the one that's really getting killed is AMD, but it looks like it's coming back. I saw it down 7% earlier. It's down 6% now. Anyway, Amazon's up, ARK is up. Looks like it's AMD and SMCI. See how much SMCI. Ooh, that's nasty. That one's down 19%. Ooh, wow. All right, well, AMD looks better than that one, that's for darn sure. All right, let's look at the top 20. Let's pull a new top 20 list. Now I would expect well, let's just see. Let's just see here. Here's the old top 20 list. Palantir was 9 on this one. Oh, it went up to 8. I thought it might drop, but anyway, actually moved up to 8. Indeed. NVDW is still number 1, and AMD is still hanging in at number 2 somehow. 26% NAV return combined with a yield of 73%. NVDY, number 3. SMCY still hanging in there at number 4. I'm not even believing that. I call BS on that. Let's go look at SMCY. I may need to start scraping from a new source because I don't think SMCY should still be up there. What I'm wondering here is all that the computer looks at this performance for the quarter, negative 5.4%. I was thinking that perhaps that hadn't been updated yet. So let's look here. I may need to find a new data source. Yeah, it's still showing NAV return plus 15.69. Darn it. Well, that's not good. It's not good at all. What the heck? Let me try to see where that's coming from. Let's just do it this way. I've been working on other stuff all night when I should have been working on, I guess I should have been working on the max factor. This is one of the things that seems to be, I seem to be really happy with lately. But let's see. Now, darn it. I think it's because it's still loading up here. So if it's loading, it probably takes the yesterday's. I mean, this definitely should be off the list, but I think it probably just loads yesterday's price action. All right. Well, or yes, the most recent data, which was fine, but not anymore. It went from up 15% to down 5%. All right. Well, I need to work on that. Sorry about that. Well, that makes this list just about useless. Gosh darn it. I worked all night on earnings stuff. I should have been working on this. I can't freaking believe this. What? This is just, anyway. And I'm sure the AMD's messed up. There's no way AMD's going to still be number 2 with the 26% NAV return. Let's look what AMD's new NAV return is after yesterday. Not one thing, it's another. I can just never get these AIs into, or I can never get these scripts into line. AMD. Why? Anyway, let's see. FinViz is right. It's my script that's wrong. So, and that's better. I would hate to have to chat. I like the FinViz functionality. I was glad to see that the problem's not on their end, because then I would have to change everything. The problem's on my end. So with my algorithm or something, this is still showing performance up for the quarter at 21%. I guess the AMD didn't go down that bad. It's nothing. It didn't have as bad of a bloodbath as the other one. But also I don't know what yesterday's performance for the quarter was. But it could have been. Let's think about this. It's only down 3.7% right now, and maybe it was 25% in this day. Yeah, so AMD's right. The only one that's wrong is SMCY. So I'll try to work on that. I thought I was so smart, because I found a way, outsmarted myself. I found a way where even if it's loading, even if it shows loading, I thought I wrote a script where it doesn't mess this up, but I need to rethink that logic, because that's just not right. All right. Well, I apologize for that. Here's the Get Paid Every Day list in case anyone's interested. I like my privately curated list better. Blocks for Monday, NVDW for Tuesday, COII, CO2 for Wednesday, YETH or YBTC, your choice for Thursday, QDTY or GPTY, also your choice for Friday. And here's how the max factor breaks it down. At least SMCI isn't on this one. Of course, it's not a weekly payer, so it wouldn't be. Anyway, all right, well, that sucks. I'm sorry about that. I think other than SMCY, it's probably accurate. There's nothing else. I don't think anything else moved big overnight. What about PLTW had a rough day the other day, or PLTR had a rough day, I should say. Let's check that one out, see if it's really still up 20% on the quarter. I'm going to have to change logic where if it's still loading, it just excludes it from the list, or something. And I need to find. I don't understand how I can have 2 terabytes of storage and it could still be loading. It's usually a storage problem. They're trying to get you to pay for more stuff, but anyway, all right. Let's look at PLTW, or I guess PLTR first. Palantir, otherwise known as Palantir. This is still showing up 60% on the quarter, but of course it's not a yield stock. It's up 1% today. Didn't it drop big yesterday? I guess I'll never know as slow as this thing is loading. No, it was the opposite. I'm sorry. It was the one good one out of him. All right. Let's look at the Crypto Trinity, see if this is right. I worked on this a little bit last night. I checked it out last night and it was working. All right, here's the Altiverse. All right, SMCI and Snap was the other one. Maybe I was getting, gosh darn it, Upstart got killed too. Somehow, Alti's doing a great job and it's only down 0.5%. Despite the fact that the average stock is down 1.64, that's because they're selling premium. And it also helps their buying puts. The SMCI probably dropped further than its put, so the protection is kicked in. We could look at that if we wanted to. Yeah, maybe let's look at that. This is based on yesterday's close, but as of yesterday's close, SMCI hadn't dropped yet. It was after hours. So let's see what kind of protection these guys had on. Multiple tranches, 53s, 56s, 63s, and 60s are where their protection is at. So the lowest one is actually 53. They also have some 56s, the 60s and 63s. So anyway, all right, well, let's look at SMCI now. I know we've already looked, but I wasn't paying attention to the price. Just to the direction. Yeah, 47. So they've all kicked in. But the lowest one was 53. I always want to make the point that these things they can't protect against everything. This thing still suffered all the way down from 56 to 53. So that's not too bad. It just lost 3 points in the worst case. Yeah, 3 points. So that's about 5%. Great job. Big victory for the callers. Some of those callers were a lot higher too. So, all right, well, great job, guys. All right, back to the Crypto Trinity. Let's check out LFGY and see what it's doing. All right. It's about the same. It's down a little bit, but not too much. It's actually down a little bit less. Good job, LFGY. Of course, it didn't have exposure to some of those big droppers, but it also doesn't really have protection. Well, I guess it does a little bit, but not direct protection. Anyway, all right. Well, they have plenty of things that are up still. PayPal, Block, Galaxy, Bitdefender, or whatever. That's just not. I always get that one messed up. Bitmine Immersion, but that's not Bitmine Immersion. That's something else. Okay, there's Bitmine Immersion. Bitmine Immersion's down. That one maybe is Bitdefender. All right. Well, let's go over here and check out Blocks. See if Blocks is bloxing. And I was so happy I finally got the positions fixed. So here's the positions. Tons of money market, more than a fifth of the fund in the money market. But then they also have HODL, FBTC, and Ethereum, plus a bunch of stocks. Or not a bunch, not as many as the other ones, but good exposure to crypto if that's what you want, or DeFi, I don't know, Bitcoin. Okay, but the Bloxy Verse itself, average stock is down 1%. I'm not thinking blocks is, well, yeah, maybe so. That's cool. All right, so these are holding in well, and I guess that makes sense because the tasty trade, the model portfolio is up. So I was afraid Alti would take a bigger hit than it did. That's really good. That's really good to see. Okay, let's go over here to the index buffer report. Hey, SB. Yeah, time to buy some SMCI. I guess it's cheap. Boy, that freaking that collar really worked out nice for those guys. I mean, they lost from 50, and really they lost from 60 down because it was down in advance of earnings, but they had to suffer 60 to 53 at the worst case on the lowest tranche. And you know, that's a little bit more than 10%, top to bottom or whatever. But heck, you know, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I wonder why they didn't do that initially, and they probably just didn't think of it. Okay, index buffer report. All right, well, feed in 5E, usually feed in 5E are the best or the worst, like I always say, but not today. This is probably going to be an S-vol day, S-vol or Z-vol. No SPY-I, look at that. So this is more of a typical day. Nothing's really, the SPY is only up 16 basis points. So that these funds should outperform or should be doing well when it's up or down more or less than, 20 bips or something. It's that environment that covered call funds shine in. So this is good. They all look good. SPY-I looks the best right now. XDTE looks good. Looks so good. I put it on there twice. What do you know? Even S-vol's not disappointing us today. What is disappointing us? JEPI, who cares? JEPI's a good one. T-SPY, yeah, who cares also? It's also a good one. And SDTY, that's alarming because the equivalent, somewhat alarming. That's the most alarming thing I could find on here because the equivalent from Round Hill is up a little bit. But it's, it's early. These things may not be all that liquid, or it may be picking up a bad quote or something. I don't really believe that SDTY is a half a basis point behind SDTY right now, but maybe it is. All right. Also, it just did it pay, or maybe it's X dividend. That's probably what it is. These things go X once a week, and it's a mess. I mean, it's a mess for me to figure it out, or for the spreadsheets to keep it straight. Anyway, okay, over here in NASDAQ land, YMAG looks good. QDT looks good. The Round Hill funds are having a great day, but all triple QT is doing well, as is FEPI and SSK triple Q. Okay, on the bad side in NASDAQ land, we have SEPI pulling back, LFGY. We just looked at that. 0.5%, though, is not as bad as it, as it could have been. Triple QI is pulling back. YMAX is pulling back because of AMD, right? Or I'm trying to think if I can never keep the Mag 7 straight. Is AMD in the Mag 7 or it's not? NVIDIA is, but it's not AMD. All right, hang on here. Alti's pulling back, but it could have been a heck of a lot worse. That's a moral victory right there, believe it or not. Can you imagine the old Alti, the old build of Alti? It would have just been getting crushed right now. All right. Everything looks good there for the most part. Yeah, SMCY, SMCI, and AMD and AMTY are the stories of the day. Dizzo's down a little bit. Murray. All right, whatever. All right. What are you guys up to today? Gosh darn it. What is going on? Marcus. CLOZ, huh, buddy? Not a high yielder, but you just added it for diversity. Well, cool. I've heard of CLOZ before, and I've even looked it up before. And I think I thought it was collateralized loan obligations, the thing that Michael Burry shorted, but I think that was wrong. It was actually, well, maybe that is what it is. It's a basket of loans, triple B loans, which I guess triple B loans aren't very good, or I mean, they aren't like triple A loans. I don't know. When it comes to bonds, I do not know. Are these corporate? Maybe credit funding. No, these are mortgages or packages of loans or something. Anyway, wonderful. If you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. Look at that. I mean, it's high yield enough to put on the max factor. Now it's not going to be ranked very high because look, it is combining an 8% yield with 2% return for the quarter, but it'd probably be mid pack. Heck yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, there it is. Non-government asset-backed security. So, in other words, mortgages. So I was right when I said it was CLOs. All right. Well, Marcus, you're kind of the expert in that area, in the ones that pay low but that are still a good deal. I mean, you have SPOO. It's not a great payer. Don't you have some SBAR also? As far as yield goes, let's look at SPOO. We'll pick on Marcus for a while. But it looks pretty good to me. Anything that's over the recent high is tracking the market pretty over the, I guess that'd be the March high, whatever, tracking the market. Lots of them aren't over the March high. Yeah, 6% for the quarter, and probably the only problem with this is the dividend. I mean, that we're probably looking at maybe 5 or 6, but anyway, you combine 5 or 6 with 6% quarterly performance. I mean, it's, it definitely adds some stability. You're add some NAV return into the mix, and you have other things that pay higher to add the yield into the mix. The old barbell approach. Yeah, maybe it is time to buy some SMCI SB Trader. God, 17 here. That's a record. All right, so let's look at some other stuff. Let me show you what I worked on last night. I'm still hung up on this earnings. I should have been doing this the whole time because data and analysis and stuff and numbers is kind of my specialty. And I can't believe I haven't been doing this the whole time, but I'm trying to make this more accessible and user friendly. So last night I stayed up probably till, I don't know, 2 or 3. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build the same thing I did yesterday, but yesterday's example sucked. But yesterday I was trying to do everything on one page. So as soon as this comes up, we're going to talk about it. I'm building a back end for me to put those, because I can go through Tasty Trade on earnings stocks, and I can load all the stuff, all the raw data I need to load. But you guys don't need to see that. Then I'm just trying to output something that's clean. And anyway, I'm getting ready to show you, and it's going a lot better, and it'll be a lot more shareable or something. So anyway, gosh darn it. I should probably just exit this darn page. This isn't that big of a deal to show you guys yet. What I'm thinking is I can keep the back end, and I can keep switching the back end right up until 3 o'clock because these numbers change. I went through and I put everything we have earnings in for the next 2 weeks into this sheet. There's like 30 stocks, any big stock. And then I loaded all the stuff from last night. Now, last night, the IV, the bid-ask spread, all the raw data. So, of course, that takes just the closing price. But anyway, I just did that to have something to look at. But then I'll go in here the day of earnings, like at 2 o'clock or 12 or something, load the current prices, and it'll update. And then I'm going to publish the front end somewhere else. Anyway, it's obviously not going well. I can't believe there's 17 people here. That's amazing. But what I'm trying to say is I'll send you the link. Okay, so I just lost the screen. What is going on? Yeah, but Marcus, I like CLOZ. I mean, I like that it's not your typical low yielder like SPOO. I mean, 5% and stuff just doesn't get people that excited. I mean, you know, and it's not like SPOO is combining a 5% yield with a, you know, with a 140% upside or something. It's not like, oh, it has such a low yield, it gets plenty of upside. That's not how it's working. Anyway, all right. Well, this thing's just gonna. I'll just go. I'll have another report later. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a call it a 1 o'clock study session or something like that. Yeah, 1 o'clock earnings study session. The sheet will be loaded by then. I'll put a link in Discord. I'm going to publish it somewhere so you guys can have access to it. But between 12 and 1, I'm going to go through and update get the current bid-ask spread and get all that kind of stuff and update it. And then we'll look at it at that point. I just wanted to show you what I was working on. And I'm also working on, somebody suggested that I'm working on a bunch of stuff. Anyway, it's whatever. All right. So be back here at 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock my time, and we'll have an earnings study hall, and we'll look at what has earnings, not only today and what has earnings coming up. I guess we could have looked at this real quick. We'll see if it's working. This is the last thing I wanted to maybe look at, but yeah, we'll do a 1 o'clock and we'll try to isolate some good trades. I darn sure did not do well yesterday because my bullish ideas all went south. AMD trades down 600. The SMCI trades down 500. But I have the same philosophy as Alti. Maybe they stole it from me because that's this. I always, you know, I had the downside cut off at 51 and it went all the way to 46. The way most people do risk reversals is just like this. And that's a way to do it also. Hang on. Yeah. And you have your unlimited upside, you know, and somewhere in the future. And so, but yeah, you definitely want to, so instead of a $1,200 loss on this, I mean, granted, you got a $311 credit, but it's going to end up costing money in this case because this trade's going to have to be settled for a loser. If you did that, I'm sorry. But it could have been worse. And also this thing could come back. I mean, probably not though. But you've already, as soon as when I put on an option trade, I assume the money's gone. That's my stop loss is if the trade loses all the money. So in other words, I could do a trade like this, I guess, do a trade with undefined risk and when it goes south, just stop it out yourself, just cut it off. But I do it. I set my risk up front. I got that idea from some guys on Tasty Trade. I like the idea, and so, you know, mentally the max loss was 530. So as I put it on, if I didn't do it. Thank God. I did enough max losers last week, or I got one max loser last week. Anyway, it is what it is. If it goes down, the thing that's interesting about that is because you don't have to worry about should I stop it out or should I not stop it out. There is a chance it could come back. And these other ones like AMD that didn't go as far, sometimes they do come back. I gave out a bad one last week in HIMS. That was this week. I gave out a bad one last week in in one of them, but it actually came back. I can't find it actually came back by the end of the week. I can't find the thing, but let's see if AMD has a chance of coming back. Well, you know, and it's still, you know, it still has further possibly to go, but it could very possibly come back also. But we'll see. We shall see. All right, I'll get out of here, and I'm going to be here at 1 o'clock, and we'll do the earnings study hall, and we'll see what's up. All right, I'm going to look and see if there's any comments or anything like that. But barring any comments, we'll reconvene about 1 o'clock my time. I need to return that call. That's the problem right there. Microsoft Edge opened in the background. I hate Microsoft Edge. I clicked a link and it opened or something. All right. Anyway, hey, good Mark. How are you doing? Good morning here. Marcus, what are you saying? Yeah, I got to have that portfolio diversification. I'd love to have just high yield CCs, but April was a lesson. Heck yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it definitely was. Well, so you can either have, it's like there's no free money. You can either have a lot of yield or you can have a lot of total return or a mix of both. And I guess you're going for the mix of both. Anyway, Mark, yeah, later. I'll talk to you later. Farmer Rick, you're listening while harvesting 500 heads of lettuce. Well, that's awesome. I'm trying to think, are you in South Texas? Or are you in the Imperial Valley of California? Where might you be? I guess you could be other places. But I'm picturing you being in South Texas or being in Imperial Valley of California. Two places I love. I mean, there's not much to see in the Imperial Valley, but I drive through there. Okay, well, Michigan, that's cool too. I drive through the Imperial Valley when I'm going from LA well, sometimes I do when I'm going to, there's a car race out there at Laguna Seca that my dad and I used to go to every year. Laguna Seca, depending on which way you go, you can come through Salinas or you can come through Highway 1. It's whatever. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all, and I'll be back at 1 o'clock, and join me then. Have a good day. See ya.